Hello. Um, See, I haven't got many views on my recent videos, although I'm not sure. I think YouTube might be removing some of the view counts because it seemed like it went up and then went down. But anyway, I'm just wanting to make another video and just hope somebody watch it. Anyway, so I'm moving to East Tennessee from California. Like I've lived in California my entire life, but a mix of like wanting to live somewhere that's affordable and live somewhere that's less authoritarian in terms of these COVID um, countermeasures, supposedly, the all the mandates and lockdowns and everything. Um, so yeah, it's like I think the cost of living is about half what it is here. Uh, and also I want to just get away from. I live right next to like a you know, let's see, I'm not sure if it's, oh yeah, there you can see it. That tree, quote unquote tree behind me is a 5G tower. So it's yeah, they just I think they actually grow stuff on it somehow to make it like an actual tree. They plant some leaves on it or something, but no birds ever go anywhere near it. And I live in like a bird, sanctuary area. Like there's a lot of birds that come through this area, but they don't I've never, seen a bird go anywhere near that 5G tower. So I don't want to be a guinea pig for 5G. I don't want to be a guinea pig for these other things. So I'm uh, getting out of Dodge, going to Tennessee, going back to where my mom's from. Um, so I've only been there once before, but you know, got to go somewhere, and that looks like to be the place. So, things are pretty messed up right now with the mandates and everything. I can't really talk about much because I have already two strikes against me for quote unquote medical misinformation on YouTube. So if I get one more strike, they ban me for life. Even though, I didn't even talk about medicine all that much. I mean, I gave my opinions about a couple things related to COVID and vaccines, I guess. But, you know, whatever it was enough for them to remove those videos. And um, so, I can't really talk about that. I would recommend for people to look at the recent videos of Jimmy Dore, look at the videos of Dr. Campbell. I forget what his name is. Somebody Campbell that Jimmy Dore features in a recent video um, about how vaccines are not being. Anyway, you'll see it. It's like the fourth video over. I really can't. It's like I'm scared to even like say anything about it on here, anything about vaccines, anything about COVID, because they would love to ban me for life. And that's like apparently all it would take is just to give my opinion about any of this. Um, but hopefully I can at least say that, what's happening is uh, in this country is unconstitutional. I mean, we've been, the government has not really honored the Constitution in a long time. So I guess that's not saying that much, but this seems like the next level, like nah, like if it was kind of like implied that that the Constitution was um, nullified before, now it's explicit, you know, instead of just stomping on it behind closed doors, now they're dancing on it in the streets and like, you know, burning it on the flagpole and so yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, I mean, I always knew that the Democrats were fascists, and I mean the Republicans are fascists too. But it's interesting that on these issues, the Republicans are, at least some, subset of Republicans are much better on this type of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna go to East Tennessee, a place that's at least acting a little bit more human and humane than California is, or at least the government of East Tennessee, of Tennessee's, like being less open, less fascistic in regarding this type of stuff. So, um, and ideally, I'd like to grow some food. Maybe find a spot there where I can actually like grow food and hunker down and kind of have a homestead and maybe even have a refuge if other people need to come there or something. But I'll see what happens. Um, and yeah, I'm going to East Tennessee largely because of a friend that's going to help me out over there. And, I basically put out like a SOS on Facebook, and that was the one person that came through for me. And so maybe I would have gone like wherever, if he would have been in Australia or in Antarctica or, you know, uh, Siberia, maybe I would have gone pretty much anywhere. I mean, it's easier to stay inside the country, I guess, especially nowadays with the passports. Like I need a new passport and they run for like $1,000, like for the whole process. It costs like $1,000 to get a passport. So it's like they really don't want people leaving the country, I guess. Um, but I don't know. At least for now, like I'm not like averse to like leaving the country if need be, but but that would be, for me, that would be the last resort to like give up. Like I don't want to give up on this country. Like there's so many people fought and died for, you know, for our rights here, like the Bill of Rights and all that. And I don't want to just give up the first sign of, tyranny. Um, so, especially while there's at least some other people that are standing against it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I definitely, I'm a leftist, but I'm libertarian, as I consider libertarianism to be at the heart of leftism. Leftism began with under the mottos liberty, or the motto liberty equality, fraternity, um, and the first of those is liberty. So, of course, the tankies and some others want to throw liberty out the window and say that that's some kind of bourgeois value or whatever. But as we see, liberty is not a bourgeois value because you look at the bourgeois, like you look at the main capitalists, the people running Silicon Valley and all these companies, and most of them are pretty gung-ho for all this, or at the very least they present no like opposition to these draconian measures. So and it just shows, you see how much the Democrats hate the working class, how they're cheering to see nurses and teachers get fired, the same people they were celebrating a year ago. And so yeah, like I'm going to a place where there's much less leftists, or at least much less people who identify as leftists. But hey, if somebody believes in bodily autonomy, at least to some extent, at least for for these procedures, then that's a start. Then in my book, they're more leftist than anybody who doesn't support bodily autonomy. So, and it was in Appalachia where the many of the best revolutionaries were found, in the 1770s and 1780s. And it was my relatives, my mom's ancestors and relatives, the Campbells, who led, the Appalachian revolutionaries at the Battle of Kings Mountain, and which really turned the tide of the revolution. Jefferson viewed that as the most consequential battle in actually turning the tide. And after that, it was more of a mopping up operation against the British. So, if I can make contacts there and help to, you know, raise the Whigs, raise the people, like just organize the people who still support the Bill of Rights, um, then maybe there's hope. But, we'll see. Um, see if there's anything else to talk about. I mean, I guess, yeah, California, I've lived here my whole life, and it's told me in every way possible, I guess, that it doesn't to go fuck myself, or that like my whole generation has been priced out of the state basically. So that's like a major part of it, but then also all this like draconian these draconian measures, and just the kind of mindset of the kind of Jim Jones Kool-Aid people who and the hatred of the unvaccinated. um it's like I don't want to be in Jonestown when the Kool-Aid's flowing, like, and that's basically where I am. Like, I'm pretty much ground zero. I mean, ground zero, I guess, would be San Francisco, which is where I grew up when I was, until I was 8.5. So, yeah, I can't even imagine what it's like in that shithole right now. But I mean, that place, like, even much more impossible to afford to live and much more draconian, much more Kool-Aid, Jim Jones mentality. And yeah, I don't know. I have I don't have that much like I fear for California in general. Like I really don't see I see that potentially they're really going to suffer when there's um when the effects of all these mandates set in and you know I mean that even if they do manage to basically, if the majority comply and therefore are not fired due to mandates, um, they can't even afford to like, even if they're only losing like 1% or something or 2% or whatever it is, they can't even afford that. They can't even afford to, they're already so short staffed in all so many of these like industries that like you know, it's gonna hurt them. And then, and there are other type of, I mean, one other reason it's good for me to get out of Dodge now is that like they're now like in my county, Santa Cruz County, um, they removed the mask mandate from indoor settings. So now they don't, businesses don't have to require masks for everybody, but the businesses are responding to that by then putting up signs that only the unvaccinated have to wear masks. So, um, I mean, on the one hand, it's like they're probably not really checking everybody's vaccine passports or anything like that. It's probably basically just an honor system, which I think they had done that a bit before, earlier in the year, before the county mandated masks for everybody. But anyway, so now they're back to that. And now that even more people are vaccinated, it's like, it's just like so, it's like at best, it's just extremely awkward, like, so like to be the unvaccinated person surrounded by vaccinated people, like it's like wearing a scarlet letter or something, or wearing some identifying armband. Like I was in a restaurant recently and I was wearing a mask, but then I asked one of the workers there, like, I'm like, so do I have to be wearing the mask? Like, because I knew that this county had removed the mandate. And she said, "Oh, no, no, you don't have to wear it. I mean, it's only for people who are unvaccinated." And I was like, so, um, I basically indicated that I am unvaccinated. And she kind of like looked at me with horror, or I don't know, it seemed like she looked at me with horror, like, oh yeah, you have to wear it then. Like, and it's like if people are gonna just view me with horror because I'm wearing a mask, and then my only other choice would be to just bullshit like maybe people are doing and just pretend since nobody's gonna check my vax passport. But either way, it's just shitty. And so I just don't want to be anywhere near this fucking insanity. Um, so hopefully, Tennessee, awkward, like ironically enough, like Tennessee is one of the most like hardcore prohibition places. And like even now, like I think most of the counties in Tennessee are like dry counties where it's illegal to like buy alcohol. Um, I know that like by state law, like unless a county officially kind of legalizes alcohol inside its borders, the it will be de facto illegal, like by state law. So which is, dumb and like uh they got caught up in all the, you know, whatever craze that was, which was largely religious, like in the 1920s or whenever it was. Um, but uh, but ironically, on this issue, they're much less authoritarian than California and like all these other places. So, such is the such. Like I was born in Vermont, and Vermont is just seems to be totally lost to this, the Fauci cult. Um, Unfortunately. All right, so anyway, take care. Thank you. I'll try to like stay on Facebook. Hopefully they won't ban me. They seemed to almost like ban me yesterday for a month, but then they didn't. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully I'll be able to stay on YouTube as long as they don't find anything that they can construe as medical misinformation, which seems to be for them like anything that they're, big pharma like donors and deep state like controllers like are against. So but yeah, like check out Jimmy Dore's videos about this stuff, and there's some other good work being done by other people. Sunil Dand, I think, Indian American doctor's been doing some good work. All right, so take care, and yeah, hopefully we can at least survive this, whatever the hell's going on, like at least make it through this these events. All right, bye, thank you.